Welcome back, everybody. While I was doing some of the work to process this video, I noticed that there were quite a few things I'd missed when I was doing my cover. The most obvious one of them being the white border at the bottom of the picture. The next most obvious one being the complete lack of a series title. And then the not so obvious one of the little shadows of light in the layer of the dragon that shouldn't have been there. They were actually showing up against the cloud. So what we'll do is we'll go over and we'll grab our image again, and we will grab our final 2XCF. Right, so if you have a look, you can see these little ripples of color here. These actually weren't in the original lightning photo. So what they are is they are bits and pieces of our thing. So what I'm doing here is I'm just turning off a layer so I can't see it. I'm actually going to turn off pretty much everything just so I can focus on those little white images here, because we really don't want them. They're obviously just bits of cloud that I missed when I was processing, when I was using the select by color tool. So what we'll do is we're just going to magnify in, so we'll zoom in. And because I've gotten rid of all of the other layers and can't see them, just make sure that I'm in this layer. Otherwise I'll start erasing things I shouldn't. I'm going to grab that. I'm actually just going to go outside the boundary. Actually, no, I won't. It's playing with fire. Don't do that. Okay. Just grab our eraser. Just increase the size. I've got no image that I want to keep inside this box, so I'm just going to very messily completely get rid of all of this because it shouldn't be there. Okay. I'm going to move the box to this bit, and again use the eraser again just to get rid of that. And then I'm going to use my draw tool. Let's try again. Right, when that happens, you just have to kind of wreck it and then start again. I accidentally closed the drawing that I was doing. Right, now that we've got that, we can use our eraser with impunity and not rub out our dragon. So I'll just scroll up and make sure all of that's gone. Now when we go back we'll just go select and none. Right, that's got to be one of the best lessons I learnt from the young lady who was doing seams, and I'll put her link down so you can see how she does her thumbnails. So we'll just turn everything back on. If you look now, we don't have any of that extra lighting and moving that we had. Let's put on the mermaid next in case I've missed something around her. As you can see, there's a little bit of stuff from her as well. So we're going to turn off our dragon. We're going to turn off our background. Oh boy. And we're going to tidy this up. When I initially said that there was mostly blue in the background, I wasn't actually thinking of the lightning background. I was thinking of something different, which clearly, oh, I see. Make sure you're in the right layer or things aren't going to work very well. Okay, so now that we've done that, you can see we're getting rid of this quite nicely. I'm actually going to use my draw tool again. Trying to cover bits of her thumb. I'm just going to go very roughly along an outline here. And just tidy up this section in here. There's the other versatility of GIMP. You don't have to stick with straight lines. You can probably do this in Adobe as well, but I haven't used Adobe, so I'm not sure. If you're familiar with it, you might be able to do something the same. I actually like some of these wispy bits, so I'm going to leave what I can in of them. Okay, I'm just going to scroll a little bit down. This part I don't actually have to be too tidy because I'll be erasing everything inside that dotted line. And as you can see, because we've got our boundary up, we can just go straight over our picture without any worry about erasing anything important there. The black background helps us pick up the bits and pieces that we might want to catch. Oh, the fourth thing that I forgot to do was actually trim the image itself, which you should always do because it's tidy. So I don't think I've made that many mistakes in a cover for a while. But there you go. At least we can all learn from them. Hopefully I can get, there we go. Okay, so I'm just going to continue to tidy up this section here. Again, this is the advantage of working on a black background. I'm actually going to keep some of that roughness on her spines there. I think it looks better that way. I'm not after crisp lines, we're talking a water creature. But a bit of a tidier background I do want. These small flecks I'm actually going to leave in. I am going to get rid of that one though. Alright. So we're just going to go select and none to get rid of that irritating line. I'm going to grab our magnifying glass and zoom out. Okay. Now, as you can see, the mermaid's frame actually goes well outside the book. So what we'll do is we'll just turn these back on. That's nice and clean now. This whole area is much cleaner than it was. The spaceship didn't have any of the problems because we used a straight snip. We'll just pop everything back open. So the little eye, if you close it, you lose the image, but once you open it, it's there to stay. Now, the other thing I forgot, if you have a look down the bottom here, you can see how there's a white border. You can't have that. It's untidy, and it won't look any good in your thumbnails. There was a way to do this. I'm going to actually stretch it. I'm going to say layer to boundary size. And then I'm going to ask it to resize. No, I don't want to fill it with transparency. That's not what I want. Fine. I'm going to grab my layer and I'm going to resize it by manual, just so that it comes out. So what we've got now is the layer is now a little bit bigger than the boundary itself. And we can fix that very, very shortly. Hopefully it won't give me a floating transformation or I shall cry. No, there we go. As you can see by the yellow line, that bottom layer is now larger than the image size. We can fix this. It's not a big thing, but it does ensure that, that the bottom layer covers everything and we don't get that white border. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab our title. I'm going to move it up a little bit. I'm also going to grab this spaceship. Just trying to clear as much as I can of the white from behind the letters. All right. Finally, I'm going to increase the contrast on the mermaid so she's a little bit darker. Let's go to brightness and contrast. Just increase it, but watch it as you do it so you can have a look. The higher the contrast, the more cartoony she's going to look. Mind you, she looks kind of sinister there. It's kind of cool. So we'll just bring it back a little bit. I just want it a tiny bit darker and not completely. There we go. Okay, so it's okay, that one. I also want to have a look at the background and see what that looks like with a slightly darker contrast as well. If I lighten it out, make sure the arrow is in the right shape. Yeah, let's not do that. So I can darken it immensely. I can just bring it back to where it was. Just want it just a fraction darker. Let's reduce that. I don't know. Okay, let's maybe not play with that. All right, so this is where we're at now. If we just use our move tool to highlight each layer, you'll see the dragon. Oops, cancel. Move tool. The dragon layer is outside the boundary of the image. Ditto the spaceship layer. Ditto the mermaid layer. Now we did this so that if we wanted to move our images while we were working, it wouldn't matter. We'd actually have all of the image to move. But now that we're happy with the placement of the image, we don't want to have that extra bit hanging off the side. I have forgotten one more thing, and that is the subtitle, which, believe it or not, I've completely forgotten what it's called. So I'm going to open that other completed document that I've got. Not that one. Final upgrade. I'm going to open it as a JPEG. That way I can't do anything to it. Okay, so what I want, actually I don't want to do that. I do want to open it as an XCF. If you're wondering why, because I need to know what lettering I used for the collection. So we're going to go A for lettering. We're going to click on this, and if you have a look, it says it's standard. The size is 250, although if we look over here it's 90. So what we want is we want standard, we want 90, and we're actually going to duplicate that particular set of writing in the other folder. So we'll close that. going to go into our lettering. We have standard. The size was 90, so we can change that here and hit enter. It was white, so we'll leave it at white. Now whenever we move our pointer, wherever we click it, we're going to have the start of our letterbox. Don't worry about it disappearing, we'll fix that in just a tick. So if you have a look down here in our layers, you're going to see that the thing we just typed is underneath all of our pictures, which we don't want. We want it on top. So I'm going to put it here. The next problem we've got is that it's obscured by the starship, which is a real pain because now I can't read it. So I'm going to use my move tool. And if you notice, when we click it in the wrong spot, we get a different layer to what we want highlighted. So we're going to try not to do that. If I bring it up, we're not going to read it. If I bring it down, it's going to look weird. So I'm going to bring it down to about here. I'm going to grab the title. I'm going to bring the title down to about here. I'm going to grab the spaceship, and I'm going to bring the spaceship up and over slightly. All right, so now even though we've got some of those irritating white bits partially obscuring our letters, we can actually see our title and we can see our subtitle, mostly. I wonder if I shrink that thing, if that'll work a bit better. Let's just move our dropped buffer, which is our spaceship. We'll check out its proportions in scale layer. It's currently 1006 wide and 889 tall. I'm going to shrink that by 100 pixels, so we'll make it 789. Just click on the top row so it can go automatically. Don't click on the chain, otherwise you'll break the proportions. We'll scale it up, and then we'll move back to our move tool. And we'll just see if that will sit a little bit more nicely than it did before. See, I liked it a bit bigger. Nope, that doesn't work. So I'm going to Control Z. And just decide what I want to do with it. I wonder if I can move that without getting a floating transformation. So always with GIMP, it is worth trying the floating transformations, trying to just move things using the short tools. I'm going to give that a little bit more of an angle. It is going to solve most of my white on white problems. When you do choose your colors for your titles, one of the things to consider is whether or not this is going to be a problem that occurs for you. And I still don't like it. I'm liking not getting these. Not getting a floating transformation every time I do this is really awesome. So yeah, no, I don't like that. All right, so my only other option, if I'm not actually going to move it out of that corner, actually let's Control Z it again because it's not quite where I want it to be. There we go. Is to make it darker using the contrast tool. I mean, I could just stick it down there, but that's a bit silly. It doesn't look right. So we'll pop it there. We'll have a look at colors. We'll have a look at brightness and contrast. We might reduce its brightness and see if that makes a difference. It does a little. So there you go. We're going to darken down our starship. I don't think increasing the contrast is, no, it's not a great idea. So we just reduce the brightness to enable our white lettering to stand out. And we're going to keep it at that. So okay, let's go to here. And now we can move it just pretty much anywhere we want to put it. You know what, seeing as that's being so cooperative now, let's see if I can move this without getting a floating transformation. Oops, not that one. Cancel. Close. There we go. Highlight the dragon. Now let's see. Rotate. Yes, no floating transformation. Sometimes you open and close it a couple of times. I'm just going to lift him up. So what we're looking for here is we've now got a line of sight from the dragon straight to the mermaid, and then from the mermaid up to the ship, and from the ship out. So you're kind of directing the reader's eye around your page. So you've got the title, and you swing around and come up. Also, if you watch where you place your wing, you can reduce the effect the lightning glare has on reading the writing down here. Okay, so that really is where we're going to put it. So what did I say? I had to do the subtitle, the bottom. I had bits to trim. Do I have a notepad here that I've things I might forget? Yep, no, that's pretty much it. We even picked up one that we hadn't meant to. Okay. The last thing we should do before we go is we need to get rid of all of these extra bits hanging off our cover. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over to image. Actually, I'm going to highlight that bottom section. Okay, we go down to image. And we're going to not do that one. I think it was that one. Zealous crop. Let's just double check. No. Fine, I'll do it this way. Use your rectangle tool. Highlight just your cover. Go to image. Go to crop to selection. And that'll crop you right down to that selection. So now if I highlight any other area, you see that everything has been cropped so that it fits inside the page. So we're going to go File, we're going to go Save, and then we're going to export it again as a JPEG. Because I closed GIMP, it's now reverted to PNG. It won't remember that you want a JPEG over a PNG every time, unless you've left it open between exports. So I'm going to replace the one that I had before, and that is pretty much where that cover will be left. Thanks for hanging with me, guys. Take care, and if you like this video, please hit like. If you would like to see more content along these lines, please hit subscribe, drop a comment in the comments below, and thanks for being around. See you later.